you're not good enough, you're not ready, or I'll do it later. Is this how shaitan keeps you away from seeking forgiveness? Seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is an action of ibadah. It in itself is worship. And it's important for us to remember that because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us so many opportunities to come closer to Him and to strengthen and establish that relationship. And Ramadan is a month of the Quran. It's the month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran. And reading the Quran is a means of reflection. And that reflection can result in strong connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet Noah alayhi salam, when he told his people to seek forgiveness, فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا. Seek forgiveness from Allah, for verily He is the oft-forgiving. Allah is the oft-forgiving. As a matter of fact, you find the name of forgiveness for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 3 different ways: Al-Ghaffar, Al-Ghaffar, and Al-Ghafur. Because that shows the intensity or type of forgiveness, which is contingent on the type of action that the slave may have done or may be doing continuously. If that is you, know that the door of forgiveness is always open. And in the month of Ramadan is the month of forgiveness. Although it's the month of the Quran, what's the connection? That when one reads the Quran, they read the stories of the prophets, they read the stories of hell, they read the stories of heaven. They ask Allah, "Oh Allah, make me amongst them. Oh Allah, keep me away from them." They see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His mercy encompasses everything. We should ask for forgiveness from Allah because that reflection establishes and strengthens the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how does one connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the aspect of seeking forgiveness? The first thing that they should do is that they should know what the name Al-Ghaffar means. To understand that Allah, even though the sins that we commit are more than those that we even remember, and the ones that you remember, are you even seeking forgiveness from those? What about the ones that you've forgotten? Allah is the all-forgiving for the ones that you've forgotten and the ones that you remember. And that's because it's couched in His mercy, His love, His honor, and respect for the mu'min, the Muslim, the one that acknowledges Him. Secondly, what we should remember with forgiveness is that we need to constantly make the effort to think about our shortcomings. Many times when we think of forgiveness, we're thinking about, okay, what I've done at the moment. But start to think about what you did before. What you did before to certain people. Your mother, the times that you raised your voice at her years ago and you know it hurt her. Your friend that you may have said something disrespectful. Something that you did at work that you know was not honorable as a Muslim. You think of those things that you said and that you did, and you use that as a means to seek forgiveness from Allah. Having the flashbacks in order to reach forgiveness. Having the flashbacks in your life in order to think about what you've done. Remember in the name of Allah, Al-Ghaffar, and then you ask, "Oh Allah, forgive me for this sin and this particular sin and this particular sin." Lastly, know that it is a process. And that is why hopefully this month of Ramadan serves as a catalyst for you to have a forgiveness schedule, a forgiveness regimen, seeking forgiveness certain times of the day. And as a matter of fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has even instructed that within the salawat, 5 times a day. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam compared the salawat as an individual having a river in front of their home. And if they were to wash in that river 5 times a day, would there be any dirt upon him? The companions said no. And he said, this is the salawat, that it erases the sins that came before it. From prayer to prayer that follows relinquishes the sins that came from before it. When having that intention to go in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you say Allahu Akbar, and then you start to think about what happened in your life from the prayer before, from the year before, from the minute before, what you were doing that you knew Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't love. That's fine, because you're in the midst of doing what Allah loves. And when you do what Allah loves, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive you for the things that you did that He didn't love. And it requires that intense intention. This month of Ramadan is the opportunity for you to intensify that intention to where the forgiveness will be as intense and even more. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy upon us to reflect in order to connect and receive that forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا.